Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we take your source material, your articles, your notes, and really just distill the absolute core knowledge you need.
Yeah, we cut through the noise.
We do. And today, we are on a very specific mission. We're doing a deep dive into some promotional excerpts for the next big installment of the dark fantasy series, Sentenced to be a Hero. Specifically, we are laser focused on episode 2, which is titled Descent into the Mines.
A very evocative title.
It really is. So, okay, let's unpack this a bit. We've been given, a good amount of material. It covers the next mission, the key characters involved, and the really high caliber team that's crafting this whole universe.
A stacked team.
For sure. So our goal is pretty simple. We want to extract the foundational plot dynamics, really get a handle on the functional misery of this world, and just prep you for the surprising narrative turns the show is promising.
And that mission, I think, it has to start with understanding the fundamental, the inversion that's at play here. This isn't just your standard dark fantasy. It's a systematic deconstruction of that whole chosen one idea. It's set in this unforgiving realm where being a hero, it doesn't lead to glory or a happy ending. The act of heroism is the punishment.
That's it. That is the core contract the show makes with you, the viewer.
Right.
And that premise, that's the whole narrative engine, isn't it? It sets up a conflict that's so much bigger than just, fighting monsters.
Oh, yeah. You're fighting the system itself.
Exactly. So let's focus on the man who's right at the center of this punishment, Xylo Forbartz. The sources, they describe Xylo as a profoundly tortured character. The weight of his past is it's heavy. He's explicitly saddled with the title of Goddess Killer.
And that's, what a title.
Right. You have to immediately wonder what kind of horrific sequence of events, what war against the divine could possibly lead to that specific devastating label.
And what's fascinating here is how the punishment actually works, how it's operationalized. He isn't just, exiled or thrown in a normal prison.
No, he's institutionalized into suffering.
He is. He's part of Penal Hero Unit 9004. And that isn't just some random squad name. The fact that there's a number like 9004, that implies a massive systemic apparatus of control.
And a bureaucracy of punishment.
Totally. It suggests this vast established mechanism where the state, or maybe the governing divine structure, systematically, it doesn't recruit, it sentences people to this fate.
Unit 9004, so that numbering suggests thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of people trapped in this system.
Exactly.
It makes Xylo just one link in a very long chain of perpetual forced heroism.
Precisely. And his existence inside that unit is defined by, and this is a direct quote, a tortured cycle of death and rebirth.
Okay, let's break that down.
This is where the world building gets grimly specific. It's not just some kind of metaphysical torment. This cycle, it ensures he is constantly battling these grotesque monsters that threaten humanity.
Right.
So if we really dig into the mechanism of his suffering, the cycle implies some kind of forced immediate regeneration. His body, maybe even his mind, is instantly repaired when he dies, only to be resurrected and thrown right back onto the battlefield.
So he can never get the rest of oblivion.
Never. He's condemned to endless capability. He has to be the hero, but every time he succeeds, every mission he completes, it just reinforces his unending sentence. It forces you to consider that his greatest strength, this inability to permanently die, is also the precise instrument of his eternal torture.
Wow, that's a powerful engine for a dark fantasy narrative. The core struggle isn't about achieving victory, it's about escaping from it.
Yeah.
So from that sort of overarching fate, let's turn to the immediate physical danger that's waiting for him in episode 2. The title alone, Descent into the Mines, signals a huge environmental shift.
It really does.
The promotional stuff promises an exhilarating journey that plunges the characters deep into these underground mines. We're moving from, whatever grand epic battles we might have seen in the premiere to the literally darker, more restricted and claustrophobic corners of this world.
And the environment matters so much in this genre, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The mines, they're not just a dungeon. They serve a real narrative function.
How so?
Well, they strip away that kind of large-scale battlefield heroism, and they force intimacy. Down in the dark, the fights are going to be tight, visibility is low.
And your dependence on your team becomes absolute.
Exactly. The dark corners of the world, they sort of reflect the dark corners of Xylo's soul and his inescapable fate.
And he's not going down there alone, right? The new visuals specifically highlight the team that's with him, and it's a fascinating mix, especially given Xylo's past.
Oh, yeah.
So first we see the formidable goddess Tyrita.
A living, breathing goddess.
On the same team as the man whose entire identity is goddess killer.
The tension is just baked right in.
Then there's the cool-headed Norgal Senridge, who sounds like the tactical anchor, and the ever-resourceful Tatsuya.
But that tension, between Xylo and Tyrita, that has to be the crucial thread here. If Xylo is defined by killing the divine, his relationship with Tyrita, who is a fellow Penal Unit member, it's got to be the most volatile dynamic you can imagine.
And the mind setting will just amplify that.
It has to. An environment that requires total interdependence is either going to forge some kind of necessary fragile trust or
the unit is going to fracture spectacularly.
Right. And the source material, it teases that this specific journey requires danger, teamwork, and interestingly, perhaps a little hope.
Hope in a world designed to crush it.
Finding that small spark down in the absolute darkness of the mines, it suggests this mission could be a psychological breaking point for Xylo, or maybe a turning point.
We're definitely tracking that volatility, but of course the psychological and physical environment can only be brought to life by the creative team. So let's talk about the production staff.
The powerhouse behind the scenes.
The people making sure every grotesque monster and every moment of emotional agony actually resonates with you. The quality of a story like this relies on a seamless blend of narrative, visuals, music.
It all has to work together.
And when you look at the names attached, you realize this isn't just some standard adaptation. It feels like a strategic assembly of talent designed to execute a really dark, high-concept narrative perfectly.
It starts with Studio KAI, who are crafting the series. But the heavy hitters, they really define the tone. We've got Hiroyuki Takashima as the animation director, and this is instantly relevant because of his acclaimed work on
Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation.
Exactly. So what does that link tell us? Mushoku Tensei is renowned for its smooth, fluid action choreography, its complex visual effects that really elevate the magic system.
Okay, so we can expect some amazing fight scenes.
I think we can expect more than that. Takashima's involvement suggests we'll get less static dialogue and more emphasis on the physical impact and the brutal fluidity of Xylo's constant battles and his rapid regeneration. For a character defined by a cycle of death and rebirth, that visual execution is critical to making the suffering feel immediate and visceral.
Good point. And maybe even more critical for the narrative architecture is the person shaping the story beats, Kenta Ihara. He's handling the series composition, and he's known for a saga of Tanya the Evil.
And that connection is so key for understanding the show's sort of political texture.
Right.
Saga of Tanya the Evil deals heavily in militaristic dark fantasy, morally ambiguous protagonists, and institutional critique themes that just align perfectly with the concept of a systemic control mechanism like Penal Hero Unit 9004.
So he knows how to write this kind of story.
He's adept at it. He skillfully shapes these complex interactions and story arcs, where the main character isn't just fighting enemies, but the oppressive logic of their own world. He basically guarantees that we, the audience, are fully invested in the high-concept reason why Xylo is sentenced.
That gives me a lot of confidence that the dark premise won't just, devolve into a monster of the week show.
The foundational philosophy is in good hands.
And the sources, they're also very specific about the supporting roles that are building out this immersive universe. Takaru Noda is on character designs.
Which is huge. In a show with a tortured lead, a goddess, a tactical veteran, the visual distinction and the emotional resonance of those designs are paramount.
Yeah, Noda has to make sure Xylo's torment, even in the middle of his endless rebirth, is visually palpable.
And we absolutely cannot overlook the soundscape. Shinsuke Takizawa is doing the musical scores, which is so vital in elevating a dark fantasy.
The music has to find that perfect line, right?
It has to underscore the suspense and the drama without becoming melodramatic, and it needs to match the moral ambiguity of the writing. Then you get into the specialists. We have Yoshitake Nakakoji, who's doing double duty as assistant director and creature designer.
Oh, that's crucial.
It really is. It's his job to make those grotesque monsters truly memorable and distinct, to prevent the endless battles from just blending together visually. The success of a dark fantasy so often hinges on the unique terror of its antagonists.
And then rounding out that visual foundation, we've got Nobutaka Aika on world design and Kota Shigawa on prop design.
The world builders, they're the ones grounding all the fantastical elements in a consistent, believable environment, whether that's the claustrophobia of the mines or the oppressive architecture of the system that sentenced Xylo.
So if we connect this all back to the bigger picture,
Well, this caliber of staff suggests that the investment in quality is focused on way more than just spectacular fights. They're ensuring that the systematic terror, the complex internal dynamics of Penal Unit 9004, and the high emotional stakes all leap off the screen with fluidity and detail.
It validates the high concept pitch of the whole show.
I think so.
It absolutely validates your investment as a viewer. Now, let's pivot back to the driving plot tension, because beyond just surviving the mission in the mines, the promotional material hints at a fresh story twist that promises to be a catalyst for real change.
Right, the game changer.
The catalyst for this potential revolution is the introduction of a mysterious new goddess.
Which is a huge development, given that the protagonist's entire identity is rooted in the destruction of the divine.
It's a massive contradiction.
The narrative stakes just jump exponentially here. Xylo is currently trapped in this cycle of servitude and punishment, a victim of the ruling powers, who presumably include the pantheon he once went to war against. So the introduction of a new goddess creates this massive ideological and emotional conflict for him.
It has to.
And the source material, it hints that this alliance is far more than just a new team-up for some thrilling battles. It hints at unforeseen plot developments. This partnership, which could be born out of mutual necessity or a shared enemy.
A shared enemy in the existing divine structure.
Right. It could actually ignite a revolution against an oppressive fate.
And that is the explicit, ambitious narrative promise. This isn't just about personal survival anymore.
No, the goal is bigger.
The goal is fundamentally overthrowing the very system that has sentenced him to this perpetual role. This new goddess, she represents the possibility of liberation from the chains that bind both his character and the storyline to this endless turmoil.
And this really highlights the dual nature of the show's appeal, I think. For newcomers, you've got gripping action and a really clear, high-stakes objective: overthrow the gods.
Simple enough.
But for seasoned anime watchers, you've got the political intrigue, the moral gray area surrounding a collaboration between a goddess killer and a potential savior deity. It raises immediate questions about trust, motives, and the true source of Xylo's power and his suffering.
And that tension Xylo's past colliding with his potential future is exactly what makes the wait for episode 2 so palpable. And just a reminder for those of you catching up, the series is currently streaming on Crunchyroll as the episodes air.
Right.
So let's distill what we've learned from these deep dive sources. We've confirmed this unique, dark premise where heroism is punishment, centered on the tortured goddess killer Xylo Forbartz, who is trapped in the systemic suffering of Penal Hero Unit 9004.
The Grim Foundation.
We know that Episode 2, Descent into the Mines, is a high-stakes, claustrophobic underground mission with a really volatile Team Xylo, the goddess Tiorita, the cool-headed Norgal Senridge, and the resourceful Tatsuya.
A pressure cooker environment.
And finally, we highlighted the high-caliber production staff, from Ihara's complex writing to Takashima's fluid action, all shaping this immersive, unforgiving world. So what does this all mean for you, the viewer?
I think this raises a really important question to track as the narrative unfolds. Given Xylo's dark past, his history of killing the divine, what specific personal reconciliation or profound shift in worldview is going to be necessary for him to form a genuine, functional, and revolutionary alliance with this mysterious new goddess?
That's a core question, isn't it?
It is. This new goddess is the central, crucial thread for liberation. That partnership has to overcome years of institutionalized hatred and systemic betrayal. So how will their alliance functionally challenge the power structure that created Penal Hero Unit 9004 in the first place? What specific actions will they take together to not just survive, but to truly break the endless cycle of death and rebirth that currently defines Xylo's fate? You have to watch that relationship, because it is the blueprint for the promised revolution.
That partnership is the revolutionary engine. We really look forward to seeing the depth of that promise realized. Thank you for diving deep with us today.
Always a pleasure.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.